So she has been consistently cantering nicely online. That's wonderful. She moves forward freely at the walk and the trot under saddle. She rarely breaks gait when we're riding. Well, Ashton, I can tell you a couple of things actually. So, fear, I mean, I will never tell anyone to push through their fear. Fear is what keeps you alive, all right? It can be annoying. It can feel like, why am I afraid? But usually it's your subconscious just trying to keep you alive. So we have to be conscious, we have to acknowledge it and say, okay, thank you, subconscious, for your information. I appreciate it. Now, what can I do to retrain my brain? And honestly, it sounds like you and your mare have been through a lot, Ashton, and she probably feels that. And so she's probably trying to keep you safe all at the same time. And we appreciate her for that as well. So, simulations for the canter. I know that sounds kind of lame, but actually it works really well. And it can help you and your horse kind of make that transition from trot to canter a little bit smoother. And so I would actually play with some cavaletti. All right, start with pulls on the ground. You can start with one little X, or pull on the ground, build it up to a little X, build it up to 6 inches. Does not have to be big. And teach your horse to trot and then canter just after she goes over that little pull or little jump. And wait for her to be very organized about her feet, that she understands where those are at. And you can even put another one that's about 9 feet away. It's usually the perfect distance to. And what happens is they can either trot that or they can canter that distance. And sometimes they'll just offer the canter at that distance because it's a little bit easier for them. So get her confident with those pulls on the ground, trotting through, then asking the canter afterward, even cantering through those pulls or little cavalettis. And then set up a point to point. So let's say I have an arena and you can put those little jumps on the rail. You could start with just one little X or pull on the ground, what you're confident with, and trot to a corner, stop, relax, give her a little cookie. Wow, you're amazing. Trot to the next corner and just, use these 2 corners. Stop, relax, give her a cookie. And every time, you just kind of trot over that pole, you feel good about it, work up to putting a little X there. Usually the best way to ride over a little jump like that is just like you're half standing and you put your hands down, because part of what yours might be a little worried about is that when you got worried when you were cantering, which is totally understandable, is that you'd pull on the reins. And so if you can put your hands down, put it in the mane so that she feels like, okay, I can move my head. My rider is okay with that. If you need to use your rein, just lift and then put your hands back down. And usually what will happen with this little pattern, so she knows she's going to go stop in the corner, so there's kind of a bump in the road, is number one, you're going to get more confident because that little jump is like a canter stride, like one canter stride. And it is going to help your body get used to riding the canter. And if you need, stand up in your stirrups too at the trot, you get really good and confident about standing in your stirrups at the trot. You're more likely to absorb the bounce of the canter or the little jump. And then normally, honestly, you just add a little bit of energy while the horse is, just after the jump, and they just kind of break into a little canter. and big fuss. Wow, you're amazing, good girl. Um, Before you do that, check some things though. Make sure she's okay with you bouncing on her back while you're trotting, because you don't want her to get worried or nervous if you bounce. You know, she should be okay with that. And trot, be able to trot really fast. Be able to trot posting, sitting, bouncing, standing. The better you are at the trot, the more that you push yourself at the trot, the more comfortable and confident you will be when you do canter. And use those little jumps. I tell you, I think, because a lot of times that canter transition, it can be like trot 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 really really fast, horrible to ride, because the horse doesn't understand the transition. They don't know that they should lift themselves up into the canter. They think it's just faster. So just putting that little bump in the road, that little jump, can give the horse the idea, oh, I see, I could lift my shoulders. Helps the transition so much. Much easier to ride. And so and then the other thing too is verbal cue. Make sure you have a very clear verbal cue. Say canter. You can have your voice go up, canter, or kiss, up to the canter. So she understands that verbal cue on the ground. So when you're riding her, there's no question in her mind, oh, she says it's okay. She says it's okay to canter. So that's a lot of information there, Ashton. I hope that helps. And it's always, if you have somebody to help you with the canter online, there's no substitute for that. It's fabulous. But that little exercise, you can do that by yourself. Take your time and build up to that. Oh, good. Martha's like, yes, this is all great information. Martha, same deal for you, man. Get really, really comfortable at the trot. Get really comfortable over this little cavaletti. And don't even worry about the canter. The canter's just going to come.